Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power. We want black power.
So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself who taught you to hate being what God gave you.
What kind of a country produces a man like Malcolm X and then ensures he does not live long enough to finish becoming himself? Was Malcolm X a product of rage, or was rage simply the most honest language available to him? And what exactly was he turning into near the end of his life that made both the American state and black institutions invested in order so deeply uncomfortable? In February 1965, inside Harlem's Audubon Ballroom, Malcolm X stepped forward to speak. And as he approached the podium, gunfire erupted. By the time the chaos settled, he was dead at 39. Today, his image circulates safely on posters and timelines, but Malcolm X was never meant to be safe. He was a process, not a slogan. And processes are dangerous because they do not stay still. Malcolm Little, born in 1925 in Omaha, entered a life shaped by racial terror and state neglect. His father, Earl Little, a graveyard organizer, was targeted by white supremacists. The family home was attacked and later burned, and Earl was killed under suspicious circumstances the state dismissed. Welfare agencies then fractured the family, institutionalizing Malcolm's mother and dispersing the children. Despite academic talent, Malcolm was told professional ambition was unrealistic for a black boy, steering him towards underground economies in Boston and Harlem. Arrested in 1946, he was imprisoned where literacy and political education transformed him. Through intense study and the Nation of Islam's teachings, Malcolm came to see racism as systemic rather than accidental. Released in 1952, he rejected his imposed identity, becoming Malcolm X, the X symbolizing stolen ancestry and self-definition. Within a decade, Malcolm X became the Nation of Islam's most formidable minister. He built mosques, recruited relentlessly, and dismantled liberal illusions on television and in print. He rejected integration without power and framed non-violence when imposed only on the oppressed as moral coercion. But the Nation of Islam was also hierarchical. Elijah Muhammad demanded absolute loyalty. Malcolm's intelligence, charisma, and rapid rise shifted internal incentives. By the early 1960s, as Manning Marable documents, Malcolm had become the movement's public face, eclipsing its founder, and power does not tolerate eclipses. Around this time, a young heavyweight boxer named Cassius Clay entered Malcolm's orbit. Loud, undefeated, searching, Clay was immediately legible to Malcolm as more than an athlete. He was a symbolic weapon. The nation understood spectacle, and no spectacle traveled faster than sport. Malcolm mentored Clay and introduced him to the nation's teachings. When Clay defeated Sonny Liston in 1964, the nation gained global visibility. Cassius Clay became Muhammad Ali. Elijah Muhammad renamed him. Herbert Muhammad became his manager, and Malcolm watched as the man he had guided was absorbed into the inner circle. This was not personal jealousy, it was political. Ali complied where Malcolm questioned. Ali submitted where Malcolm challenged. When Malcolm later broke from the nation, Ali publicly denounced him as a traitor. Malcolm had brought Ali in, and now Ali stood where Malcolm once had. After Malcolm's chickens coming home to roost comment following Kennedy's assassination,
What did you say, Malcolm?
Well, I said the same thing that everybody says, that his assassination was the result of the climate of hate.
But
Only I said the chickens came home to roost, and which means the same thing.
the nation suspended him. The issue was not the remark, it was control. In March 1964, Malcolm formally broke from the Nation of Islam. He lost institutional protection but gained intellectual freedom. For the first time, he could evolve. In April 1964, Malcolm traveled to Mecca, and there, praying alongside Muslims of all races, he encountered equality without erasure. This did not make him less radical, it made him more dangerous. Racism, he concluded, was not biological, but political. On his return, Malcolm reframed the black struggle as a human rights issue, linking it to anti-colonial movements across Africa and Asia, and openly discussing bringing the United States before the United Nations. Civil rights are granted by states, human rights indict states, surveillance intensified, threats multiplied. What is often missing from Malcolm X's story is not his anger, but the speed at which the American state recognized his transformation as a strategic threat. After Mecca, Malcolm was no longer confined to the Nation of Islam's theological silo. He founded the Organization of Afro-American Unity in June 1964, deliberately modeled on the Organization of African Unity with the explicit aim of internationalizing black struggle. This was not symbolism. Malcolm was building diplomatic infrastructure. He met African heads of state, corresponded with revolutionaries, and openly discussed charging the United States with human rights violations before the United Nations. FBI files from this period reveal a sharp escalation in surveillance, not because Malcolm was militant, he had always been militant, but because he was becoming coherent across borders. Malcolm had begun translating black rage into legal and geopolitical language, a move far more dangerous than street confrontation. Even his rhetoric softened strategically, not ideologically. He spoke less of radical absolutes and more of systems, less of separation and more of self-determination. Privately, Malcolm was also reckoning with isolation. Funding was scarce, former allies were hostile. Muhammad Ali, once a protege, had become unreachable, insulated by the nation's hierarchy. Yet, Malcolm never publicly attacked Ali as an individual. His critique remained institutional. He understood that Ali, like himself once, was operating inside a structure that rewarded obedience and punished dissent. In lectures from the late 1964, Malcolm increasingly emphasized patience, coalition building, and intellectual discipline, qualities absent from his popular image. He was preparing for a long struggle, not martyrdom. This is precisely what makes his assassination historically legible. Malcolm X was not killed at the height of his rage, but at the beginning of his synthesis, when theology, law, international politics, and grassroots organizing were converging into a framework the Cold War state could neither co-opt nor caricature. He was becoming uncontainable, not because he refused America, but because he was learning how to confront it on its own terms. On February 21, 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated. Official narratives named gunmen, but history suggests a convergence of interests. Malcolm was killed not because he hated America, but because he was beginning to understand power too clearly and too independently to be contained. In death, his image was softened, his radicalism curated, his evolution interrupted. Muhammad Ali would later leave the Nation of Islam as well, adopt Sunni Islam, and arrive at many of the positions Malcolm had reached earlier. He would carry regret. Malcolm would never hear of it. Malcolm X does not offer comfort, he offers diagnosis. He reminds us that anger can be intelligent, that radicalism can evolve, and that the most dangerous figures are not those who shout, but those who learn faster than the systems designed to manage them. Malcolm X did not finish his work, and perhaps that is what still unsettles us most.